ونشكره ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Indeed, all the thanks and all the praises are due to Allah Almighty, who has out of His mercy counted you and I to be alive to witness this day. I beseech Allah to bestow His countless peace and blessings upon the soul of our teacher Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam and upon his household. The peace and blessings of Allah be with each and everyone joining us tonight. I ask Allah in His mercy to have mercy on us and keep us on the path of righteousness always and for the rest of our days. This evening, talking about family hour, we shall be discussing the topic, don't fall for it. Now, I want to lay some premise before we delve deep into this topic tonight. Number one is that to lay this premise, let us take it one after the other. That number one is that marriage reveals character, it doesn't conceal it. Marriage reveals the character of the he or the she, it doesn't conceal it. And therefore, you need to be careful before marriage and be watchful before marriage in order to discover hidden character, because everybody has hidden character. So if you are not patient enough, if you are not careful enough, you will run into the troubled waters of marriage. Before you know it, you are in for it. So that is why we're getting the topic tonight, don't fall for it. And it is also not worth noting that we cannot assume that marriage can magically change character. And sometimes, with marriage and after marriage, we see him turning out positive character or negative character, as the case may be. Those things that are latent in an individual, marriage will not change them. Marriage will only reveal them. Furthermore, we should not confuse being patient with tolerance that will later harm us, because sometimes we said, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to wait. And this patience is not realistic, because you can see it coming. Before you get married, you have seen these red flags, which we're going to be talking about tonight. But you just feel that maybe something better is going to happen. Maybe he's going to become a better person, maybe XYZ, maybe ABC. And before you knew it, you run into the troubled waters. Because marriage can only reveal the content of your character, it cannot conceal it. So my appeal is, whenever you see that which could harm you, if you go into the marriage, don't tolerate it. That's my position. I might be wrong. Don't tolerate it. What you should do is flee from it. Run. If you could see that sign that this guy or girl is potentially having these negative qualities and characters, don't just say, okay, after marriage, it's going to change. The guy won't change. The girl won't change. That is the stuff he or she is made up of. So you have to be careful in the choices that you make. And everybody has a responsibility in this regard. So that you don't say that, oh, I didn't see it coming. No, you saw it coming, but you pretended as if nothing was happening. And this is very important premise that we have to lay tonight. Now, the topic, don't fall for it, is taken from the fact that sometimes when you see these red flags, which I'm going to be mentioning in a short while, when you see these red flags, don't say that it doesn't matter, that everybody has his own whatever. So you fall for it. And later on, you begin to regret, why do I have to go into this relationship? Blindfold me, this someone flees my eyes, someone cover me with some kind of a scarf or What have you? Why didn't I see this guy this way? Why didn't I see this girl this way? Regret won't be valuable at the point when you have fallen already for it. Now, what are the common red flags we need to be careful of before you say, yes, I do, or before you say, that is the what do you call it now? The cockroach in my wardrobe, you know? That is the girl I'm going to die for. Before you say, yes, I do, or before you say, yes, I'm going to choose you, before you go for that, let us consider some of these common red flags that we should not fall for. Number one here is anger issues. The person who has anger issues is a sitting Satan, a Satan that is sitting, just seated there. If someone has anger issue and you go in for it, it could be that that person might harm you in the relationship later years, in the later years. You've had cases of husband killing wives. We've had cases of wives killing their husbands because of some impulsive anger, which the person feels is normal. To the person it's normal, but to you, it's not just normal, because it is not normal for someone out of anger. And you will ask him, why did he do this? Because I was angry. I was just angry. He made me, and you see the kind of guilt tripping now. He made me to be angry. I want him. So you slapped him that way. So you decide to use knife on your wife or your husband because you are angry. So part of the things you need to watch out for is the anger issues of that individual, that guy or girl. If the person has anger issue, that is not just going to fly away. Marriage will not magically change that guy. Oh my God. Marriage will not magically change that guy or girl that has anger problem. Marriage can rather add to that problem. May Allah protect our homes. Number two is dishonesty and double standards. The person who is, I don't want to say pathological dishonest, because I don't think there is any pathogen in human system that makes someone to be dishonest. But the bottom line is this: dishonesty in an individual could be habitual, could be as a result of background, and double standard, somebody behaving like a chameleon. It's neither here nor there. So we have such individuals who have the tendencies or the penchant for being dishonest. So if you notice such character while you guys are dating, don't fall for it. Don't say it's one of those things. Nobody's perfect. No, it is not one of those things. The guy or girl has shown you the true worth they are made of. They are made of. So you have to decide on where the pendulum swings here. You have to decide on what to do without falling for it. The next red flag is being disrespectful to parents and elders. Being disrespectful to parents and elders is one of the important red flags we have to watch out for. Because if the guy or girl before marriage, you see him, you see her, he has been so disrespectful to his own father, she has been so disrespectful to her own mother, that person who does not respect his mother or her mother, definitely that person won't respect you or respect your own mother or father, as the case. Would you tolerate the husband or the wife who will be so disrespectful or blatantly disrespectful to you or to your mother or to your father? No, except you get away with this infatuation thing you call love. Because if the guy or girl is disrespectful to his or her own parent, that person, guy or girl, will insult elders in your presence. And you see your would-be husband, your would-be wife insulting an elder, whether in the environment, in the area, and you try to caution him or her, hey, darling, don't do this. I said, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't you see the way he, old man, foolish old man. And the person you want to marry as a husband, the person you want to marry as a wife behaves that way, and you see it, and you say, well, it's one of those things now. Anybody can get angry. Hey, put on your running canvas and run from that guy. Run away from that girl, because that is a serious red flag. Furthermore, lack of respect for boundaries and time. The person who has no respect for your personal boundaries, your time, would not be a good husband or wife, right? The person would just bump into it, because this guy or girl that would not respect your boundaries before marriage is going to enslave you after marriage. And that is the truth here. That is the truth here. Because if that guy or girl does not respect your boundaries before marriage, then that person may not show respect for your boundaries or your time. You know, quiet times. I don't get, and you tell him or her, please, darling, don't call me by XYZ or ABC time. I got some busy things to do at that point in time. Or I got some acts or ibadah to do and stuff like this. And that exactly is the time he or she keeps calling you. Hey, excuse me, what's happening here? Don't be pleased with that guy. Don't be pleased with that girl. That is a red flag. Don't fall. Your own plight will not, and I might be wrong here, may not be the right person to be your husband or your wife. The person who is not empathetical to your plight, who is only interested in his own or her own, this is a red flag. You know, it sits you down and it's no showing sign of, you know, this is still, so you bear with us. We got some network challenges. We can good husband, but the good some network issues here, much here. Being casual with limits is a problem, or it's nothing to stand for, will fall for anything. The person who has no sense of value to stand for will fall for anything. So you have to be you have to be watchful of the values. Does the person has sense of value? Does the person has what he stands for, what he or she represents? The person who has no sense of value may not be the good husband or the good wife for you if eventually you get married as couple. Furthermore, extreme jealousy and possessiveness. Extreme jealousy and possessiveness can sometimes be fatal, because we get cases of people, you know, who have slaughtered their wives or slaughtered their husband and kind of been excessively jealous. The fact that you saw him or you saw her in this or that circumstance does not mean that something is wrong. But when a person is extremely jealous, it poses a great danger for the would-be husband or the would-be wife, as the case may be. And next is possessiveness. How do you imagine someone you are dating, and in the course of dating, your phone rings, and as soon as your phone rings, a guy grabs the phone from you. Let me check who's calling you. That can be a good husband, or that can be a good wife. So possessiveness, your family can't get in touch with you. Your friends, you have to abandon everybody. You know, everybody must be left and stuff like this. This is not a sign of a good wife or good husband, as the case may be. So we have to be careful. Someone that is extremely jealous may not be a good wife or a good husband. And the person that is possessive, of course, that person already missed the point. Next is emotional manipulation and guilt tripping. I mentioned something about guilt tripping right now. The person who guilt trips you may not be a good husband or a good wife, as the case may be. The best person to be your husband or your wife is the person that will understand your plight and will not try to manipulate you emotionally. The person who tries to manipulate you, even when, or guilt trip you, even when he is wrong, you will still bear the consequence of that wrong that he or she had done. For example, the person, misses a flight or misses his flight. It is his fault or her fault that he or she missed the flight. The person pushes the blame on you, if not because of you. Why would they have the flight is missed? So we understand. So why pushing the blame or guilt tripping someone else because you just missed an opportunity? So the person who guilt trips you or manipulates you, and I know there are so many people who are manipulators of their husband or manipulators of their wife. Albeit some people try to manipulate you even when you don't know that you are being manipulated. This is something that we need to we need to be careful of, and that is that if someone before marriage guilt trips you, manipulates you, that person won't be a good husband or good wife. Albeit, if you have, and this is important for parents, if you have your guy or girl, your daughter or your son that is into relationship with someone, ask your son, ask your daughter, does he behave like this? Does he try to do this to you? Whenever something goes awry, what is his reaction to you? Does he blame you for his own fault? These are things that you need to watch out for so that you can advise your son or daughter about the characteristic trait of a manipulator as a husband or a wife. What about mood swings without accountability? This is also another red flag that we have to watch out for. Furthermore, is financial recklessness and being irresponsible. This is a big red flag. Let me give you an example here. The person before marriage, especially the male here, the person who before marriage does not take responsibility, does not learn to take financial responsibility, will not be a good husband. The person who is also always interested in scope, or always interested in collecting from you, maybe a female here, everything buy, and she doesn't ask you, guy, what do you do for a living? How do you get so much money? How do you get this? The person who is not inquisitive about, what do you call it now? The person who is not inquisitive about how you make your money, but just want to collect. Once you just bring. How you get it doesn't matter to him or her. Then that is the problem here. And then another thing to that is financial recklessness. The person who buys anything, spends money anyhow, he doesn't care about savings, that person won't be a good husband or a good wife. Because at the end of the day, either the person dips his hands into corruption or evils and the person solves you with it, goes down with you in that dungeon, or the person puts you into bigger problem on account of his own financial recklessness. As a good husband, as a good wife to be, you should be interested in how your guy or girl gets money. It is not just about spending the money. Interrogate him. Guy, you spending too much money. How do you get the money? That shows that guy or girl is interested in your welfare, not necessarily interested in what he or she has to get. This is very, very important. What about dependency problems? Without making personal effort. If you have, for example, the gold digger for a husband to be, a gold digger is the person who is always interested in what goes to him from you, not necessarily what is the table. It can sleep from morning till evening, so long as you are the wife, right? You are the wife, so long as you can feed him 3 square meals, buy clothes for him, buy new car for him, and he just feels settled. And it's a husband, no responsibility. He loves to depend on you. Or it's a girl that is everything is just him. She doesn't learn how to, get something doing as a woman to support you in a case where you need some sort of support. I'm not saying by choice that you guys have agreed, okay, in the formative years of our children, you stay at home while I go to struggle so that you can train each other. There could be such plans, yes. Fantastically, there could be such plan. But then, when you have someone who doesn't care about any other thing apart from just collecting from you and scooping money out of you, even to the extent of putting you into debt, this will not be a good husband, a good wife. If you see such red flags, put on your shoes or your canvas and run. Furthermore, not having life goals or a sense of direction. A person who does not have life goals or sense of direction may not be a good husband or a good wife, as the case may be. For example, you ask him, so what's your ambition in life? He says nothing. So what would you want to be in life? It's nothing. Or are you working towards something? Nothing at all. I just want to just be. Hey, that person may not, because the person who goes nowhere then has nowhere to take you to. The guy has nowhere, so he's not taking you anywhere. So you got to be careful of such a person being your husband or your wife, as the case may be. Final point on red flags here is the tendency to blame others for personal failures. I mentioned that while I was talking about guilt tripping here. The person who will blame others for everything he or she does wrong may not be a good husband or good wife. For example, a woman who says, okay, she maybe that cup drops from her while trying to wash the plate in the kitchen. Maybe you are there just standing by, and as soon as the cup drops from her hand, he said, "Look at you now! You are talking to me. You allowed my cup to break." Hey, excuse me? He allows your cup to break? He allows the cup to break from your hand? No. The person who would push the blame, always pushing the blame on someone else's, whatever attention or non-attention, the person who says that you are the one to blame for what happened to me, you asked me to go and buy you something. Maybe you want to go and buy something for your husband or your wife. There's something happened to you does not mean that you put the blame on him or her. For crying out loud, you're just going to do something which is necessary for you as it will be husband or will be wife, or even couple as the case may be. If this happened that along the line something undesirable happened, that person will rushly pushes the blame on the other party, won't be a good husband or good wife as the case may be. Now, having said all this, we're going to mention a short while what are the dangerous assumptions, because many couples who get married and they get involved in marriages and stuff like this, they say that, well, that is the way it is. That is the way God has planned it to be. So just let us just manage it that way. This is God's wish. If it is not God's wish, it's not going to be my husband, it's not going to be my wife. You made a mistake. Because God does not ask you to remove your thought or thinking capacity. God gave you the capacity to think. So are you thinking about anything? Now let's look at the dangerous assumptions that people do have. Now there's an important point I need to mention before going into this dangerous assumption. And that is that the burden of responsibility will reveal the kind of person your would-be husband or your would-be wife is. Because marriage adds to responsibility, it does not reduce responsibility. The person will always try to shirk away from responsibility, who runs away from taking responsibility, will not be a good husband or good wife, because after marriage, the person will not live up to responsibility. Marriage will add more responsibility. So if the person before marriage has been running away from responsibility, running away from taking up issues, standing up for things, standing up to be counted on your behalf, that person after marriage may not be a good husband or good wife, as the case may be. Now, what are the dangerous assumptions that people do run into? Number one, when we marry, it's going to change. It's an assumption. Don't worry. When we marry, everything is going to be just behaving like this. Children have time, they grow. Excuse me. You're talking about an adult here. That guy is not a baby. The girl is not a baby. You don't have to speak for him that when we marry, it's going to change, it's going to turn a new leaf. No lie. That is not true. So if the guy hasn't changed before marriage, the guy won't change post-marriage, because marriage will only add additional responsibility to whatever responsibility the guy or girl may have had. And many people don't see this coming because of the whatever infatuation that we might have been in. The second assumption that people do make is that we say love will heal all the infamies. Love will heal the infamy? Do you know what an infamy is? The person who suffers from a personal infamy may not be healed with your so-called love. Because the infamy will only become more revealed post-marriage because of additional responsibility. Because that is the time it will be clear to you that what you had called love before marriage is actually not love. You're just getting infatuated because you could see this person suffering from this personal infamies, yet you refuse to see it because you say love is blind. If love is blind, lovers should not be blind. And in fact, is it love that is blind? I think love is not blind. It is the lovers that are blind. The next assumption that people do make is they say, hey, excuse me, why are you talking about the person I want to marry like this? Why are you always bringing out his fault? Why are you always pointing why are you always pointing out her fault? Is there anybody that is perfect? Eh? After marriage, it will become better, or I can manage him. I can manage her. You can manage what? Marriage is not to be managed. Marriage is to be enjoyed. So you want to be managing him, right? Okay, fine. It's going to be a problem because these are part of the dangerous assumptions that we do make before marriage. Furthermore, some people say, at least sometimes he prays. So you know that guy is not in touch with divinity. He's not in touch with the Almighty. The person who is not in touch with the Almighty, the person who deceives God Almighty, will turn out to deceive you in a bigger way. The person who will lie to you that I've prayed, and yes, he had not prayed. If you get involved with that person as a husband or wife, then there is a problem you got to deal with. There is a problem. Now, before we run through the remaining part of this conversation, if you perchance you want to call, you want to drop a comment as a question, and we can pick it up in the later part of this conversation tonight, you are free. Please feel free to drop your comment so that we can read it out, or you can call the number here 090 48431721. I repeat, 09048431721. Then we can pick your call as the case may be. Now, going forward, through character deficiencies, critical thinking have been ignored, you still say God will take control. And many of us who tend to be religious, we say this a lot. You have seen this thing coming. You have seen it. You say, I have done my istikhara. The istikhara does not mean critical thinking should be obviated. No. You have done it. I've prayed over it. God will take control. You deceive yourself because God to whom you have prayed has given you the capacity to think and reason with your head. Decide not to reason with your head. You don't blame God for whatever mistake you have made, because God gives you the eyes to see. Can't you see? Your ears can hear. Can't you hear? Right? You have your thinking capacity. Why would you remove your thought and put all the blame on God? Do you say, I have prayed, I'm traveling, and I have prayed, you leave your steering without holding your steering while you are driving? Nobody says that. You say, hold your steering, you have prayed, you hold your steering, you put your eyes on the road, you don't get distracted, even though you have prayed. In the same vein, on the journey of marriage, you don't say that God knows, He's going to take control, God knows, but you also know. God sees, but He has given you eyes to see too. You don't pretend like you don't see, because you have seen, and it is God Almighty who has given you the capacity to see. So see clearly and don't be befogged by what you see. Furthermore, what you tolerate before marriage may be a test post-marriage. Some things we tolerate before marriage, we assume that those things don't really matter. It doesn't matter, it's just one of those things. Post-marriage, it can lead you into the dungeon of so many evils. A cesspool of so many evils that you may not be able to find your way out of it. So finally now tonight, respected viewers, before we take whatever question or comment you may have, what can we do about this? What can we do without falling off for these nuances, negative nuances that characterize things that we ought see before marriage as red flags, but which we ignore either deliberately or inadvertently? The first thing is that what we should do while dating, the guy or girl need to ask right questions. You need to sit down with the guy or girl or the wali, as the case may be, and ask right question. A number of people do not know that the work you have to do before marriage is so critical to the survival of that marriage. Many a times, with due respect to our parents pay attention to the ceremony, to the wedding, without paying attention to the dues of the would-be wife or husband that are coming to get married together. We don't pay attention to these details. We just pay attention to the paparazzi. We pay attention to the size of the car, the quality of his cloth, cell phone, and other ancillary things that are fleeting. But then we don't pay attention to, are these two guys compatible? From what we can see, you overheard them arguing. You overheard the other guy struggling the phone from the hands of your daughter. And you ask your daughter, you say, he sees my phone. You ask your daughter, where is your phone? For 2 days, your daughter is not with the phone. You ask her, so where is your phone? Your phone, my phone is with Abdullah, marry me. And you don't know this is a red flag? The guy that will seize your daughter's phone before marriage won't be a good husband. That is possessiveness. What about the guy that will threaten to strike your girl, or the girl that will threaten to strike your boy, and he says, I will beat you if you talk, keep quiet. And the person that talks this way before marriage may not be a good one after marriage. And it's very important you begin to ask right questions. You need to begin to ask right questions with a view to getting to the nitty-gritty of who the person is before marriage. Number two, the second thing we need to do is observe actions closely and clearly. Observe actions closely and clearly. Actions are to be observed, not promises. Somebody might promise, okay, I will do this. What if he doesn't do it? Somebody might say, I will do that. What happens if the person does not do it? You can't hold him accountable after marriage. He said he will. What happens if he doesn't change? Okay, I will stop smoking. The guy he smokes, he drinks, and in the course of the relationship while dating, and he promises you, okay, I will stop smoking. Okay, I'm going to stop drinking. That is what he says. What about what he does? These two things are very important. What he says must tally with what he does. And lastly, involve third party while you are still moving on. Don't ignore third parties. Third party could be your parents, could be your counselor, could be anybody close to you that has experiences of life, or the person that has walked on the road the path you are currently treading. The person who has walked on that road stands a better chance of advising you on what to do or what not to do as far as the journey of marriage is concerned. So when elders in a family or counselors give advice in this regard, please don't ignore their advice. Don't say it doesn't matter to you. Don't say that guy is special. I can't afford to lose him. I can't afford to lose her. She's so special to me. He's so special to me. No. You get it all wrong because you are not paying attention to the details. But if you can't pay attention to the details, then you will discover that nothing is going to go amiss after the marriage. So these are the points I have with us tonight. Perchance you have one or two. Let me go through the comment section and try to ask if there are questions. Okay, Abdullah Awal, thank you for your prayers. Haja Zainab, thank you for your prayers. Okay, who again is here? Okay. If you can drop your comment, we can pick up the comments you pass if you have question, and if you have comment to make or what have you. Brother Akambi Al Baraka, thank you for your comments. Brother Ibrahim, the trade, thank you. Assalamu alaikum assalam. Thank you for your prayers. Okay, we're still waiting for more of your comment if you have any, or you want to drop your call here. The number to call is 090 4843 1721. 090 4843 1721. You might want to put out a call or drop your comment. This point that we have discussed tonight are important points for us as would-be husband or wife, that we need to take note of them. But most of the things that happen to marriage is because we have not paid attention to the details before marriage. So we run into these troubled waters post-marriage. Whereas if we have been watchful enough, if we have been careful enough, we won't run into these troubled waters of marriage, inshallah, because we will have been able to trap and note those areas, and then we can just flee if there is a need to flee. Now, keep in mind, there is nothing wrong with walking out of a relationship if you know that that relationship is going to pull you down into another tumultuous issues. Why would you go down that route if you know you can't cope with the nuances that characterize those personalities before marriage? If you see it coming, don't push your head into it. And if Allah wills, if you can do your investigations, ask the right question, ask elders to advise you, ask your parents to guide you, inshallah, everything is going to be all right. I want to appreciate all those who drop the likes. Appreciate you too. May Allah reward you. So if you still have comments, we still have some few more minutes to go. If there are no further comments, then we can just call it a quit tonight. So still waiting as we try to have a final take on this program tonight. I want to thank you all for finding time to join, for your comments and your statement. It's really, really appreciated, and it's not going to be taken for granted in any way. So still waiting for your comment. Jazakumullah khair too. May Allah reward you. Haja Zainab, Jazakillah khair. May Allah bless and reward you too. And all the comments that are coming, let's keep the comment coming, and let's ask questions if there is any, and then we can bring out those questions, read them out, and try to answer them as much as it is possible. So we're still waiting. Perchance we might have one or two questions to ask. Otherwise, after a few minutes now, we call it a quit tonight, and then we can pray Allah in His mercy to bless our understanding and increase our knowledge. And then finally, before we make the final dua, I want us to understand that the family is the foundation of the society. The national security challenges that we're going through right now is a fallout of failure of the families. Because Boko Haram does not drop from the blues. Bandits, kidnappers drop from the skies. They are bad product of bad families. So if we can get it, and look, the current challenges we are being faced with is a failure of years. The families of years failed in their responsibility. They failed to bring up the right children. They failed to put their families in order. So those bad products of those bad families are the challenges our nation is currently dealing with at the moment. So it shows that if we can get it right now and today, the future is going to be brighter, because if your family can be right, if my family can be right, the society, 5 years to come, 10 years to come, the society is going to have good product, good children that will take the challenge of developing this country or this nation or the nations of the world, wherever we may find ourselves. They're going to contribute their quota towards building the communities, building their societies, and they're going to be part and parcel of those people who will try to ruin their societies. It is on that note I want to sign off tonight, hoping that inshallah next week Saturday, this Saturday rather, on Saturday we're going to have more time together talking about Faith Hour, and of course on Sunday we're going to be talking about Family Hour. I want to thank you all for being a part of this program tonight. Once again, I pray Allah in His mercy to bless you, guide you, and keep you and I steadfast and focused on the path that is right, on the path that is good, at all times and all the days of our lives. Thank you all. May Allah bless you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.